Under the bridge, correct. Yeah.
And now, does the graphic make money to? Does the government have to underwrite its finances?
No, not at all.
Good.
Not at all. We even paid some dividends to government,
yes.
And interestingly, for a very long time, I'm not too sure. I'm sure that has any money been paid at all into this. I'm sure apart from the setting up in the initial stages, really nothing has been done. We've been very self-sustaining,
yes.
And I think we realize the fact that to really be able to drive the media agenda, you need to be very independent, such that you would be able to take up your constitutional mandate of keeping the government accountable to the people. The only way you'll be able to do that is if you can do whatever you want to do and you have the resources to be able to do that. Because immediately you go to the person who is playing the piper, there's a tendency that the tune could be called, and there might be a variance with what the Constitution says.
So the umbilical has been cut.
Yes, and I think we're very well protected by the Media Commission, to the extent that we're sure that once you're working within the mandate of the Commission, once you're working to the Constitution, once you're working to the rules, the guidelines that we've set for ourselves, we could do virtually anything within those boundaries. So far as we're protecting, we are working within those remits. So that's been good. So the umbilical cord really cut.
Yes. I mean, one of the things that interested me about the jurisdiction of the Commission is that unlike the Press Council in England, where it's really exclusively designed for complaints against the media, there is a provision, isn't there, for complaints by the media to the Commission.
Yeah.
And that I found
very interesting,
and very imaginative, because it gives the work of the Commission a completely different spin than the Press Complaints Commission in England.
And well, just very recently we're engaging the Media Commission in that regard, looking at ways in which we could help push the boundaries, help develop, the work that we do. Because the interesting thing is the Constitution places some obligations on the media. Typical one is when we do elections and the need to be able to give fair and equal coverage to everybody. And sometimes, to print is a bit easier because what you're looking at is once you have a presidential candidate declared, all you need to do is to get a photojournalist and a journalist, a reporter following the presidential candidate. But if you consider a group like the GBC and the number of crew you need to put behind each presidential candidate and then each political party, so we're talking to the Media Commission to see how best do they support us, very independently, such that money is not tied to any political party, such that when the time comes, you're able to do it and that's an engagement that we've been doing with the Media Commission, and it's been going quite well.
I mean, it's interesting to see the constitutional legal structure of the Commission, because in England, the great battle has been between self-regulation, exclusively self-regulation, and statutory regulation, and the press have been, it's not too strong a word to say, hysterical in their opposition to statutory regulation, statute of any sort. And initially the Prime Minister supported them and said that he wasn't going to cross the Rubicon into statutory regulation. But I think now they realise that at the very least, even if you don't have a system as sophisticated as in Ghana, where there's constitutional provision and then an act, at the very least you need a kind of statutory underpinning, simply so that everyone joins up.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that's the interesting thing with the Media Commission, though we also sometimes fault a bit some media players where they don't play when the Media Commission calls them, and they are not as forthcoming as they do. Everybody increasingly is beginning to find out that it's better to have, it's important for us to self-regulate, that's critical, but then it's also important to have an arbiter like the Media Commission, which is more interested in press freedom than not regulating us. Because if you're not too careful, criminal libel is gone, but you still have the courts that can impose really harsh fines on you, which could virtually also cripple organizations. So a lot of us media practitioners are now finding it out that it's in our interest, you know what I mean, to play to the Media Commission. And I'm hoping that as we do this 20 years of introspection, we would find means of being able to empower more the Media Commission without necessarily taking our freedoms away,
yes.
you know, because if we're not too careful, well, sometimes you get into the tyranny of the media, you know, where you find out the masses then begin to think that we in the media were becoming dictatorial and were taking liberties for granted. So it's important that we find ways within the whole ambit of free media, ambit of self-regulation, playing with working with the Media Commission to be able to make sure that what the great thing we have of media independence and press freedom, we're able to guarantee it. And for me, I believe that's what underpins our democracy.
Yes.